Hello everybody and welcome back. This is your second sample question with regard to our video series on the startup visa. So this question deals with a scenario involving Hamid here, and it's going to test you on a couple of the areas that we talked about during the previous video lesson on this topic. Well, let's jump into your question here. So we have Hamid. Now, Hamid is an entrepreneur from Qatar with a great business plan to offer a new way of allowing people to complete their online banking by adding new layers of security that make identity theft impossible. Although he has the business plan completed and the technical knowledge to complete this task, the final product has not been completed since he needs some help on the technical side of the production. He is happy to inform you that he has received funding of $25,000 to $35,000 from each of 3 separate angel investors in order for him to launch his business in Canada. With this funding, he has to give up 40% of his shares in the company, but feels it is worth it to have the support of these backers. Assuming he has $55,000 in savings, meets the language requirements, and receives a letter of support from the leading angel investor, is Hamid an ideal candidate for the startup visa stream? We have A, no, because he needs a minimum of $75,000 investment from only one angel investor. We have B, no, because he needs 3 letters of support because he has 3 angel investors. C, yes, because he has the appropriate support. D, yes, because he can invest his own money to meet the investment requirement. Now, as always, you can stop the video now and read over the question again. Remember that the first step for you really is to read through the question and separate the important information from the other parts in order to lead yourself towards the answer. So if you want to pause the video now, that would be great. So when you were looking through this scenario, I hope quite a bit of the information popped out at you. So we have the important parts over here. He has the business plan completed and the technical knowledge to complete this task. However, the final product has not been completed. We have the amount of funding he will receive. We have the percentage of the business he has to give up. And we have his proof of funds, language, and that incredibly important letter of support from the angel investor. So as you break this down a little bit further, with regard to the information presented to you in the scenario about Hamid, we can see that he has the business plan, he has the knowledge to work through this business plan. The final product is not complete, and you'll see that these 2 elements aren't exactly that important in the context of this question, except just to give you that general knowledge that, remember, the officer has to be convinced of the intent and ability of the candidate, and that peer review system looks at the exact same thing. So we can see he meets those language requirements with $55,000 in savings. It looks like the proof of funds requirements would probably not be an issue either. And when we look at the amount of money he's getting from those angel investors, we can see he has 3 angel investors, and the scenario mentions that he will likely receive $25,000 to $35,000 from each of these. So that would be a total of $75,000 to $105,000. And of course he has that letter of support. So when we take a look at this question again, we can see that we have already completed one step really, which is looking at the important information in here. And the next step, of course, is looking at the answers to see if we can choose the correct answer here. So the question itself is Hamid an ideal candidate for the startup visa? And in A we have no, because he needs a minimum of a $75,000 investment from only one angel investor. If you paused the video before and you came up with the answer, hopefully you noticed that this one is not the correct answer. When we take a look at the scenario, we have he has received funding of $25,000 to $35,000 from each of three separate angel investors. And if you remember from the lesson that we took a look at before, that yes, investors can combine in supporting a person's business development, but the money stays just about the same. In this case here, it is an angel investor with an angel investor. So the minimum amount for 2, 3, 4, etc. angel investors who are combining is $75,000. So through that, we saw that A is incorrect. Let's take a look at B now. So for B, no, because he needs 3 letters of support, because he has 3 angel investors. So we can see that this one is more concerned with the procedures involved in this immigration stream. So when we see this one here, it's similar in the area it's covering to A, to what we just saw. And we can see again that he's received some funding from 3 separate angel investors. When we're looking at the procedures of this, remember from the video that we saw before, and of course you should be verifying all of this information on the government website. But one organization will take the lead on this, and that organization, in this case, he has 3 angel investors. So one of those angel investor groups will take the lead and issue the letter, the certificate as well. He won't receive 3. So that makes B incorrect as well. Now we are going to jump ahead a little bit and go to D. And D is yes, because he can invest his own money to meet the investment requirement. In this one here, you probably know that this is incorrect because they have to secure funding from a designated organization. Now, Hamid himself is obviously not a designated organization, so he cannot fund his own project in order to meet those immigration requirements. And finally, even though we've crossed off the other potential answers, let's take a look at C so we can be 100% sure about the answer. So in C we have yes, because he has the appropriate support. When we go back to that scenario, we can see that we have some hints that bring us towards this answer. So we have he has received funding of $25,000 to $35,000 from each of 3 separate designated angel investors. So that is obviously really important. One thing that might confuse you a little bit is that he has to give up 40% of his shares in the company. So remember with that doesn't really play a role in this scenario here. So he received definitely that $75,000 and above, money for the investment needed for this, and of course has that letter of support. So we can see that C is definitely the correct answer here, because he certainly received that support. Seems to meet the other requirements as well. So if you put C as the correct answer, congratulations. Some people get tricked when the answer is a positive answer. So remember that in the exam and in the simulations that we give as well, not every answer is a negative answer, saying that there's something wrong with the candidate, so that's why he wouldn't be able to immigrate. Sometimes they meet all the requirements, and don't be scared of that, of course, if it pops up in your exam. As always, thank you for tuning into your second question on this topic. Now that you've completed this, you're again one step further in mastering the startup visa. So you have one question left on question number 3. So I'll look forward to chit-chatting with you when you do that question